Could you take 3 months leave and your business still meets its performance targets? If you can't disappear from your business for 90 days, you're not an entrepreneur. You're what we call self-employed. What happened? What happened? Did it hit you hard, eh? Huh? Is that you? Guys only laugh at that when they hear a nice bar and a hip-hop song and they're like, oh! Oh! Yeah, you're not, that's why, for me, the distinction is actually not academic. It's important, right? It's a very important distinction. There's a couple of models that go around. I'll share with you one that I kind of share with entrepreneurs, right? So there is a difference between being an entrepreneur, yeah? Being a business owner, yeah? Being self-employed, yeah? I beg your pardon? Being an employee. No, well, that wouldn't quite make it onto this. And being a professional. These are not the same things. So, a professional, I am a doctor, I'm a dentist, yeah? I heal the patients, but if I'm not there, nobody heals the patients. Right, so I'm fascinated by the idea that there is a doctor who runs a practice, yeah? And there is a doctor who runs a hospital, and there is a doctor who's the CEO of a hospital group. I'm fascinated by that because they clearly have the same training, they just operate at very different levels. Yeah? The other thing you need to recognize is this is not for everybody. Most people, I think like 90% of people who say they want to be entrepreneurs actually just want to mean I want to determine my own life. Now, if that is what you're saying and that is what you want, which is you want to take your kids to school and rock up at the office at 10 o'clock, leave the office at 2, work a 4-hour day, then that's not quite what we mean by entrepreneurship. You want to be self-employed. Very big difference. So the graphic designer is somebody who's self-employed. I employ me, but I do the job. I am the value. Yeah? The professional is the lawyer, the advocate, the person, the accountant. You absolutely, positively must have them as some part of your business. They may use an underling to do the work, usually some sort of apprentice, but it's very difficult for them to scale their businesses because they need to sign off the document. You know, when my audits get done by EY, I know who the partner is. So if that document's not signed by him, even though I know he didn't do the work and his apprentices did, he must sign the document, right? So he's clearly a professional employed. Make sense? If he was to start his own business, a lot of professionals do this. So you leave EY, you leave PwC. I see a lot of black professionals, by the way, who walk into companies oversold on this thing of transformation and then get there and realize that the companies are quite as transformed as you used to be. Oh, rule number 4 of the masterclass, as we call it as it is here. And I've just seen so many of my friends who do this. They're like, oh, I've joined company X, Y, and Z. And then 3 months later they go, yeah, no, I'm leaving. Right? Typically, when they leave and they say, I'm starting my own business, really what they mean is I want to be self-employed now. I used to do HR as an HR business partner, and I'm going to start a recruiting company. Yeah? I used to be in the legal team, now I'm going to do legal stuff. Right? Those people aren't entrepreneurs. You're self-employed. Big difference. The business owner is kind of the level you're talking about, right? So the business owner goes, so I've got this business, right? And rather than employ myself, I'm going to employ people to manage the people I used to manage. Right? The thing is, you can never shortcut this process from here to here to here. You can't shortcut it. You have to go through all the steps. Right? So if you think from day one, and this is, in my mind, a lot of the mistake I see some of my VC friends make who are chasing valuation growth. Long story for another day, but I really think that there's a bubble in South Africa, particularly in the tech space, where we're overvaluing companies off the base of the fact that there's more funds than there are good tech companies. So they're attracting very high valuations, they're getting a lot of money, but the entrepreneur driving that business hasn't gone through the natural process of growth. If I took a potato and I put it in the ground, and I gave you another potato and put it in the ground, and you watered your potato twice as much as I did mine, your potato wouldn't grow twice as fast. Because the laws of nature are fixed. Like I love my son, he's 8, but he has to go through puberty. He can't skip it. That make sense? So a lot of us try to skip phases of growth because we want to get to the other side. The mistake you make is you don't realize that in that phase of growth is a lesson you've got to learn. So you have to manage your people long before you get managers to manage your people. Yeah? Gary Vee calls it being dangerous enough. Dangerous enough means I know each and every single thing about my business that I'm dangerous enough to know when you're bullshitting me. Yeah, but if I start with a business today and then the government agency gives me funding and I employ 100 people, I'm not dangerous enough because I wasn't there. Like in your business, who wrote the sales process? If it ain't you, there's a problem. You've got to write the sales process. Then you've got to sell it. You've actually got to try it. You've got to sell to the first few customers and test and make sure the sales process works. Because if you don't do that, when you employ 20 salespeople and they're not giving you the numbers, and they give you 1,000 excuses, which all salespeople will do, you're going to believe them. It's only if you go through the process of building it that you go, no, man, it's rubbish. What are you talking about? My team will tell you, like if a client comes to us with a sale, it's now the scariest thing for them. They go, how do you know all these people? I'm like, 15 years, dude. Of course I know them. I've worked with them at some point or another. Oh, who called you? From what company? Oh, yeah, they used to work with so-and-so. How do you know that? Yeah, no, they used to work with so-and-so, then they left and went here. Now they're back, but they're back as a consultant. They're not there full-time anymore. Oh, by the way, they're not going to give you X amount for the transaction. You're going to have to go in at 85% of the value of the transaction, but what we should do is add a 20% premium on the actual proposal so that when they discount us down at the 20%, we get the value we wanted, not the 85% that we're willing to pay. I go, how did you know they were going to do that? I know the company, I know the politics, I know how I just know. Yeah, so you're going to have to go through those steps.